Division 5s that they usually pick up.
Yeah.
So they don't have first pick this time, but likely they'll do what they did before, which is leave both in the pool and then take one. However, they don't have first pick. LGD probably going to lead with Earth Spirit first, I would say.
I would think so, yeah.
And then Shaker, or it can be, I would think that it would be Shaker +1.
I think they should. I think EG should stick to Shaker Jakiro. It seemed to work so well for them yesterday.
Yep.
And just it always will set you up that you're not going to have this losing team fight. You're always going to be able to team fight with that unless you just get massacred in the lanes, which you shouldn't because Jakiro is pretty strong in lanes.
Yeah. But actually, now that the Lich is banned, LGD could first phase Jakiro. And I think they'd be very happy with that.
EG can play the Earth Spirit though. Fear used to play it a lot, and he's been playing it more and more in pubs as well lately.
Crit's a decent Earth Spirit.
And Crit, of course, too. Yeah, that's true. If they want to just switch it up. I mean, Crit's a very good Earth Spirit, yeah.
So leave it in the pool.
Yeah.
Okay.
You figure you're going to get one if you leave both of those?
If they could also just go something completely different. Like the opener from LGD, I didn't really expect last game. Oh, maybe the Earth Spirit, but I didn't expect the Winter Wyvern first.
Maybe they're considering banning the Wyvern.
They've also opened Shadow Shaman before as well.
I think yeah.
Slightly oddball, isn't it? But
I did not like that one.
China thing, I think.
I wasn't too big of the Shadow Shaman, big Shadow Shaman fan in this tournament so far. Has it won any of the games?
With LGD?
It's been.
I guess LGD won. Did they win one of the games with it? I guess they must have, right? I think I saw it lose a lot.
I think I saw it lose a lot too. Maybe it was because VGJ uses it sometimes.
Yeah, they do.
So they banned out the Nyx. Just the roaming hero, and yeah, the Jakiro seems to be the most popular hero between these two teams.
So it's the most picked at this tournament.
Yeah. Wow. Paul.
I know.
Paul's
Who'd have thought?
He's like, as a big grin comes in, that's the most picked.
Yeah. It only took me 4 years to get that right.
Oh, they could first phase Bat too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that would be really good.
Yeah, I would actually like first phase
I thought
Bat.
they would do that last game actually, because I think it's Universe's best hero.
Yeah, and they banned out Nyx first phase, but at the same time we've seen Pugna a lot as well.
Air Spirit comes out, yeah.
Okay.
And
so we picked the first two.
Wyvern.
And they've gone alongside the Wyvern to take
so
it away.
They take it away.
Yeah, from LGD. And
that was the opener from last game.
They've got some flexibility in that as well.
That was LGD's opener.
Yeah.
They just robbed them.
But I don't think that LGD are going to pick into the Wyvern like EG did. Right? Their first pick's already really good versus Wyvern.
And the Wisp.
I don't think they play Wisp.
No, they don't.
Especially not with the stand-in, right? That's like a hero you need to be really together with to play.
I can see them go for Silencer, actually.
Yeah.
They love Silencer.
Banned last time round.
Oh,
early
they
bat
take
from
the
them.
bat.
Yeah, Bat was pretty good with the Nyx. I'm not sure why they banned the Nyx first phase, though, if they're not planning on taking the Bat themselves.
Yeah.
Is that the bat is the reaction to the fact that they lost the Wyvern? Perhaps they were thinking Wyvern?
It's very good versus Wyvern.
Yeah.
Just in general. It's a Cold Embrace, Bat Rider, you can get a couple more sticky stacks and you can drag people out of position. Or you can just initiate on the Wyvern.
I think he was talking about the Nyx.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
The Nyx versus Winter Wyvern I don't think is particularly troublesome. But the Bat's a problem here. And they pick both their supports. So usually you pick your supports to deal with the Bat Rider. We've seen Kunkka Defensive X.
Yeah.
We've seen Oracle and Vengeful Spirit. But a lot of times you just do need some way to deal with the Bat Rider. We saw how devastating it was yesterday versus the Anti-Mage. And it's just very difficult to itemize. So you want inherent abilities in your heroes to actually deal with it.
They could pick some Legion Commander.
Yeah, Legion Commander is actually very good.
Legion Commander for Universe, one of the best ones, yeah. Or we haven't seen this one, but Universe playing Wyvern, I don't think it's very likely, but and then they pick some other kind of 5 hero.
Tell you what we have seen. Oh, well, no, because I can't ignore me. I just rebound. I was going down a dead end.
Shaker Ban and Lone Druid. Lone Druid being one of the more successful heroes for EG. They've won every game with it here. And they can do the 1v1 matchup that they love to do.
I like Lone Druid versus the Bat too.
Yeah.
It's very hard to actually catch the Druid.
Banning out the AM. Why would they ban out AM?
Maybe they want to pick Storm.
I think so. I think they want some of that either Storm or Ember Spirit. pretty good versus Batrider and pretty decent versus Jakiro.
Yeah, Storm seems pretty good here with these picks.
What did LGD ban last game? Is that the same things?
Wasn't Bloodseeker banned
It
out?
was Bloodseeker and Pugna, right? In the last game that they
Yeah.
banned? Yeah.
We mentioned a Bloodseeker not particularly good versus a Batrider. Just die at the start of the fight with not really much counterplay to that. So EG, how will they deal with Batrider?
Some Vision heroes are usually pretty decent versus it, but everything's kind of taken out.
Yeah, they don't play Keeper either.
No. I think Legion's probably like still the best one. What is it? The off-lane Bane?
It was brilliant yesterday.
So seems risky though versus Bat. I mean, they could run a Drow strat again, right?
Could.
Because they have the Wyvern on their side?
Yep.
I think that could be likely.
Possible.
Like a Visage into Drow, or a Drow into Visage.
Sure.
And
They
then
won't
just do a
get-
substitute. They can't get both.
Though,
Yeah.
LGD see this coming.
But they could do, the thing is what they could do is they pick Visage next, and then instead of having Drow last, they pick the Vengeful Spirit, so they can have also the swap interaction versus the Batrider as well.
That'd be nice.
And then you do at least get the amplified damage with the Visage plus Venge,
They
at
could
least
just
for
play,
EG.
pick Drow and Storm too.
Or Drow and Storm, yep. They've got a couple options.
Interesting.
The Bane coming out again, it's...
How impressed were you yesterday with the Bane from Universe?
I was more impressed with the Drow pick.
Yeah. It was
It was a super easy game, I would say.
Yeah.
last pick Drow into
yeah.
low armor heroes with a Visage on your team. Pretty much the dream.
Against no anti-push.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Free win.
Free win.
They've got like one good way to stop the Fiend's Grip right now with the Ice Path. They probably want at least one more reliable one. And LGD, they don't want to be able to put in the trap where like the same thing that EG happens, so probably not picking just straight physical cores. Hard to kill heroes could be something like Phantom Lancer. They do like it. I don't know if they'll grab it here. Maybe
It's pretty good versus their lineup.
it's good versus EG's lineup, yeah.
But terrible team fight just in case you're worried about getting pushed down.
Hard.
Because right now you have to be wary that like this pick will show whether or not they're going to do a Drow strat, right?
Yep.
If they do a Drow strat, it's going to be Visage, Drow, and potentially Storm, I would say, I guess, if they wanted to last pick it. Or some other heavy ranged mid like Lina, I would say. Then you kind of have to keep your ears perked for whether or not they're going to do that. So with Lifestealer,
Okay, Lifestealer.
that's decent versus Batrider, but at the same time, it kind of works both ways, I would say.
Yeah, it's just a lane kind of thing, right? And it's going to alleviate the pressure from the two supports. So Crit can run around the Earth Spirit. Fear can play around more the mid lane / bottom lane. They're just going to, looks like probably sacking RTZ.
They're very lacking in the shoe meta, though, aren't they?
They have to ban. They have to ban.
Yeah, you read that, I guess.
Yeah.
Good job, buddy, by the way. That was very fun.
I think LGD has to ban the Storm last, especially when they see the Lifestealer, the delivery method. So I think Puck or Storm looking for EG, probably to be the best two. Hard to catch for Bat.
Yep.
Overall good throughout the game.
Terrorblade, though, would be pretty good for LGD. I would love Terrorblade right here.
Wyvern, though,
TB.
versus TB is... Wyvern's pretty good.
PL? PL then? PL is probably a little bit
PL or
better.
TB, I think, for LGD.
Either are fine.
Good call. TB.
Yeah, great call.
Tight.
One of the best versus Lifestealer, yep.
Yeah, you don't care so much about dying to the bombs. You just need to, and you can actually just kill him during rage, which I don't really think PL has that option.
PL's very slow, too, yeah.
All right, final bans, final
So,
picks.
yeah, it should be Storm
Has
or
to be
Puck.
Storm.
I would say Storm is way more problematic.
Yeah. I think EG has... Yeah, they'll probably go either the Storm or the Puck, yep.
Then EG also worried about maybe Hero last one. Could maybe play. I could actually see him playing Lesh. Like Lesh versus the Winter Wyvern.
Really?
Yeah, he likes that mid Lesh.
Okay.
He could also go for something more safe like Morana.
He could take the Storm.
Could, but he's up against a much more difficult lineup to play Storm against, I would say.
Also, I'll tell you what he does favour a lot of recently is SF. I know we haven't seen a huge amount.
Yeah.
It's not particularly great in the meta right now, but
It's not great.
Too slow with Terrorblade
it is,
on the same
it is
team.
quite slow, yeah.
And they have two BKB piercing ultis,
Yeah.
which is really bad for SF.
So Puck banned out from EG. I mean, this isn't yelling Storm Spirit. I don't know what it is, right? Because maybe we could be completely wrong, though.
Do you think that's dangerous, though, banning out the puck on that side? Knowing that they might have to choose it themselves, or could have?
They must have just not wanted it in the first place then. They banned out Zeus from LGD.
Wow.
So we've seen the Zeus versus Terrorblade from LFY many times. It just takes a dump on the hero.
It's one of those auto bans for LGD. So Mirana. Yeah, that was the next one on the list.
Air Spirit pretty good versus Mirana, though. So is Lifesteal if you close the gap. So gap closer for EG. So what other things other than Storm, even though that's more than likely what they're looking at? It's
Quap, I suppose.
Lina?
Quap or Storm?
Lina, I think, struggles a lot versus Bat. And you can't carry the Lifestealer. Right now, they don't have a good way to get Lifestealer into the fights. So that's what we're looking for, the high mobility heroes like Puck, Puck, Quap, and Storm would be the main three that we're looking at. But I'm sure we're missing one.
That's why I thought it was odd that they banned the Puck. Because if LGD then decide to ban the Storm,
it has to be the Storm.
Just
have to be.
Yep.
They surely saw that coming, though. I guess they just don't care.
I think they're going to dual roam on him really hard, sanking Mirana to try to punish him.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just pleased we get a Samael Storm. Usually pretty impressive.
Yeah. Surprised they let it through. I'm like kind of excited to see it, but at the same time, it didn't really come as a surprise. So I know that LGD are ready for it.
They had to know.
I'd be way more excited if none of us saw it coming and they'd be like, oh, God, they just stormed them. But it's not like that this game.
No. Prediction time.
Ben, you go first.
I'll go with LGD again.
Okay. And production, you already know what Folk's going to pick, so that's fine.
Let's see it.
That's it. Thank you. Thank you.
Nice.
Thank you, production.
Right, we are ready for game number 2. Another split decision here. Difficult draft for both teams. Who's coming out on top in game number 2? EG, remember, have to win this one to stay alive. Or can LGD make a grand final? Let's head back to Blitz and Cap.
While this tournament and the tournament before have been full of drafting surprises, this game certainly is not. Our panelists called Storm Spirit far, far ahead, and so if they can call it, I'm sure LGD can as well. We also have the Bane for Universe, which would have been a surprise before yesterday's game, but now we've already seen it in action. Blitz, seeing as both teams have read each other pretty thoroughly, who do you give the advantage to?
Honestly, Fogged and his NA bias
disgusting.
Really disappoints me, and
really ruining the panel for me right now.
As an NA player, I have to take the other side and say that EG is definitely going to win this game and secure things up one-on-one. It's very obvious to me, Cap.
How so?
It's
How obvious, William?
Very obvious. So I think it's a really good Storm game, though.
Yes.
And that's if I'm gonna analyze anything, it's how easy of a Storm game is it.
Sure.
Like, that's probably gonna be the one that I'm most accurate on. Like once you grab a Lincolns and a BKB, it's pretty hard for them to kill that Storm.
Meanwhile, LGD do have some real big anti-lifestealer heroes.
Yeah.
So I can see why this game, I mean, most games are kind of primarily on the Storm Spirit, but I feel like this game more than others because they've got a Bane core, which obviously you're not going to rely on for the late game and carrying this game, and Lifestealer's pretty heavily countered. Yeah. Terrorblade, Mirana, Batrider.
This game, a lot of it is going to come down to the Storm Spirit. Because if you notice too, he's their only wave clear.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's going to be the one to split the map a lot.
Yeah, you got Wyvern, but yeah, I could see what you're saying.
Like Wyvern, it's a bit different because Wyvern's more when it pushes into you, whereas Storm's the one that's going to be pushing the wave.
And it's not like you're excited for the farm that Wyvern's getting out of pushing waves.
But QQQ is up here, and he might actually do this trick where he's trying to stop the range creep from coming up through first, and EG might actually just catch him out here, and they're going to make the go.
Oh, no.
Roll, no.
Right as QQQ backed up.
That was so big. If they manage to grab that kill, then Universe pretty much gets a free lane to start, and they've committed a lot to this. There's 3 heroes up here, and once again, RTZ going to be in a one-on-one position. But this time, the Batrider is not as good as the Enchantress. Because at least the Enchantress can like right-click you and it hurts.
They are going to be able to get the stun in top lane, start going onto Universe, but there's that big brain sap turn around. The guys, you got to stop going on this Bane. They're still going to try and finish him off, but a Fairy Fire save is going to be able to keep him one step ahead of the right clicks. LGD will protect QQQ, but Ame has already blown his Metamorphosis and has lost a lot of regen, so it seems like a big win here for EG. I can't believe LGD tried to fight that one. Brain Sap, the most value skill,
They're
level
still
1
going
when it
for
comes to fighting, and now Ame's going to be caught in by their roll-in from Crit. They couldn't get Yao back here in time, and it seems like this lane is just going to be obliterated by EG.
Yeah, the other 2 lanes are going really well for EG right now, as the Lifestealer should have absolute free farm here at bottom. The Storm is going to do just fine against the Mirana mid, as we see that already early on. So foreseeably, we could see 3 out of 3 lanes being won by EG. And the weird part is that they should have known that that was happening. When you see the Earth Spirit roll out,
Yeah.
it's no longer a surprise when they...
And there's no Wyvern hero showing bottom ever. Now Ame doesn't have Metamorphosis, so he's going to be pretty easily run at. Last time we saw Bane win a 1v2. This time we're seeing Bane win the Tri versus Tri lane, as they're going to kill LGD again, the 3rd kill in a row in under just 2 minutes. And Ame has this gigantic creep wave on him, so he's going to have to run himself into the trees, and EG are going to pursue all the way. Ame does have a Quelling Blade as well as 1 more Tanko, so he can cut through trees pretty well. Does manage to get the reflection on most of EG, but the roll-in from Crit doesn't quite block Ame in, and now a really good stun from Yao does go out. Universe has another Brain Sap, though, so he's not really in trouble. Maybe it's Fear who's going to be the one potentially going on, but they can't even really fight this one out, it seems, with EG. Fear's going to be kind of stuck here. Does have a Splinter Blast, though. It's going to be able to get the kick in. Fear bringing Yao lower and lower. Does manage to get the Burrow Strike in. Universe hoping to be able to catch up. Fear gets one last right click in, but can't manage to get the kill on Yao. And Yao's a little bit too far away for Universe to be able to pursue, so he just does damage where he can onto Ame. But Ame, he's too much armor for Universe to be able to fight him with just physical damage. So they're going to have to back away. It looks like EG finally did overextend themselves, but they continue to keep pressure on that top lane, making life miserable for Terrorblade.
Yeah, Terrorblade right now has 6 CS, hasn't been able to do too much. He's already going to have to go back, only level 2 right now. Not exactly the kind of start that you want your carry to have. And meanwhile, at bottom, Arteezy going to get gone on by the Batrider, who FI's done a pretty good job of keeping up in this lane. He can also pull the creep wave back once he pushes in like this, which is what you expect to happen. And he's going to do so, deny some farm from this Lifestealer. But so far, I'd say that the laning phase is favoring EG quite heavily. 3-1 right now. Their Storm Spirit's getting absolute farm. And with Storm, for the most part, if you're trading 50-50 on farm, you're going to be really happy about that.
Even later on to the game, when they start rotating pretty heavily on mid, which I'm a little bit surprised they haven't done yet, Storm Spirit can just back out, right? He can, if he feels like his lane is ever in trouble, he could just go farm jungle.
And that's why they're okay with the aggressive tri-laning cap. And that's precisely it, because he can just give up the lane to somebody else. He'll go jungle, and one of the 2 supports that are underleveled will eventually pick up some levels here. But in mid, Sumail going to get a little bit low, as is maybe. But likely just to back out, has that Bottle Crow coming. And the same option isn't available for this Mirana without that Mask of Madness cap. She can't just go jungle when she feels like it, at her leisure. Sure, you can arrow 1 creep, but Starfalling takes a little bit of time. Without that really attack speed early on. Yep. Whereas Storm can just pretty much zap out repeatedly.
Yeah, you're going to see him do that now in the offlane jungle. Roll in. Oh, what a
Huge kill.
The 2 supports just killed maybe's Mirana mid.
Yeah, and he thought that because the Storm Spirit was running away, lane's going to reset a little. But during this time, Sumail just trying to grab his level 6, and this is what we just talked about. Storm goes to the jungle, the supports take over mid, and this is how they're going to reset their game. And
they could get the value shrine usage too.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
This is so big for them.
To see those.
Because now you've got an almost level 4, I think, on both supports.
Yeah, Wyvern being a bit closer than our Earth Spirit. Maybe is going to pick up his Moonlight Shadow here coming. Oh, they're actually going to get the sleep set up into the Splinter Blast, already bringing Ame down to half HP. Now, Crit actually wanted to go for QQQ. Q turning around and hoping to be able to save. Ame does slow down some of these heroes, but it's going to cost him his life. Throws out the Ice Path, but will be brought down. And another Metamorphosis used under pressure that is ultimately going to be used for not a whole lot, just a little bit of neutraling.
He's going to jungle right there with that, but not exactly what he wanted to do. Unable to touch the lane, really. 18 CS right now, has less than the Bane, who's not really known for his farming prowess.
Crit's going to run into Yao. They can get a Burrow Strike arrow? Burrow Strike arrow?
No.
Nah?
He's just going to run away from that, I guess.
All right,
very
cool.
casual, but...
Surely that was a kill.
Most likely, it's level 2 arrow, the double starfall without raindrops. Crit just got raindrops. But they hesitated for half a second, didn't really react to him running by, and EG off to a much better start this game. What are you laughing at?
half a second.
I mean, yeah, he had a while.
He definitely had a while, but
Everyone
maybe
makes
I was just a
mistakes.
little bit afraid of Storm Spirit.
I think what was most likely happening is he was just watching somewhere else.
Yeah.
Really quickly. Probably didn't have his eyes on that. It happens to the best of us.
Yeah, this is a hard game for the supports, man. Now they can't really gank mid very well. The Storm Spirit has an escape mechanism. Bottom lane is a life stealer, so it's kind of a dead lane there as well. I guess with a Bat Rider picking up level 6 and having Lasso, maybe he could, they force out Rage and then he grabs some. Then they use Disables after the Rage. I don't know. It sounds like a complicated mess that's hard to pull off.
The upside, though, of all of this is the Bat Rider is going to grab a level 6 very quickly with the Blink Dagger.
Sure.
Like, his Blink is not that far away. He's even going to stack some Ancients for his TB.
So, I was recently playing Bat Rider trying to get better at the hero and stuff.
Yes, sir.
And you explained to me the difference in Blink Dagger and drums first. You want to talk about that a little bit?
I think drums, if you're going to go for the pure laning perspective and you want to be as annoying as possible and you're not the solo initiator, then I think it's okay to go for the drums. Tank up a little bit, be a little bit harder to kill. Plus, if you're not having a best of times, going for that 2250 gold straight up is really hard. So if you're having a horrible game, then going for these mini items, like going for the Bracer, hold that thought as
Initiation, maybe he's going to be silenced up, but he even has the balls to throw out the Starstorm instead of just leaping straight away. Had 9 magic 1 charges, so he was definitely good top lane. Universe is going to go for a kill solo with the Fiend's Grip. Fiend's Grip might not be enough to kill QQQ, so just the right click will have to do. With Phase Boots, Universe does a lot of damage.
Man, this offlane Bane.
And Sumail, if he gets lucky here and manages to get a rune, it could be a kill, but it doesn't get anything. It's a double damage at top lane instead.
Yeah, Mirana going to pick that up herself. But just to complete that thought real fast, it's sort of just based on who you need to initiate, who you need to do stuff. You know the Sand King's going to get a very late blink because of all that happened at top.
So is this because we're kind of losing the lanes? Lifestealers are a hard hero to deal with. We need that kind of hard initiation for SK to be able to have an opportunity to do things, for us to get Ice Path on top and Arrow. Like, there's a lot of things they just don't have the hard initiation. If they have the hard initiation, they have the follow-up.
Yeah, it's not even for RTZ. It's more for the Storm Spirit. I think they have to slow down the Storm's game as much as possible.
Yeah.
But both cores right now, all 3 cores, like, this is the disastrous situation. Of course, LGD doesn't know this, but right now, all 3 cores on EG, top of the net worth chart. Worst thing that could start the game right now. We always talk about how some cores have to give up part of their game. Well, if none of your cores have to give up any part of their game...
It's a pretty easy transition into the 15-minute to 25-minute marker where everyone on your team is ahead.
Yeah. The game is so obvious when you win all 3 lanes. The game becomes a lot more clear. Like, your moves don't have to be as rushed because you have that baseline of farm already. Whereas if you're behind in all 3 lanes, you're losing all 3 lanes, you still have to get farm, but at the same time, you have to look for fights. And every successive fight that doesn't work out, you get further and further behind.
So you could say that EG's plan from here on out should be protecting the advantage that they have?
Protect Artur at all costs. Protect Sumail at all costs.
Okay.
I was going to make a little B reference, but I didn't know how to do that.
The Blue Squad?
Yeah.
Blue Squad roll up.
Protect Mr. S.
6-1. Not that much of a net worth lead. We're creating a lot of doom and gloom for LGD. All the cores are ahead and everything. But an overall net worth chart, it actually doesn't look terrible for LGD at the 10-minute mark. And they certainly have heroes where if you win one team fight, you can very easily start snowballing. That's particularly what's good about Terrorblade, right? Is that the fear of losing a fight and immediately losing a lot of objectives.
Plus, as a core matchup, he's quite nice against Lifestealer.
Yeah.
Because Lifestealer, I mean, he doesn't have a stun or anything like that, so if he gets in close, Terrorblade can just use...
A roll in, silence! Oh, maybe. Too quick on the fingers.
Damn,
He's able to get
fast.
the leap before crit.
That was really fast. Does that simultaneously. But yeah, Lifestealer, not going to match up the best in the ultra late game.
They're going to go for a smoke gank on bottom lane.
He's got
it's
Blink
just
Dagger.
kind of been chilling out.
Sumail's not showing on the map, and they can't waste any gank attempts.
Yeah.
They're going to run into Arteezy right
Invis
here.
rune. There's the rage into the lasso.
They can't arrow, though.
And Arteezy does not have an infest. You need to be able to hit a burrow strike here, but he gets done first by crit. Now silence. Oh no, this has gone terribly for LG. They're going to get caught. Fiend's Grip from Universe catches Yao. And instead of a kill, that first critical Blink Dagger timing into a core kill fails, and LGD lose their support instead.
And the problem right there was that the Batrider was invis, but the Mirana wasn't. She was smoked up, but when she ran uphill...
Long jump up the top lane, Samael. He knows that there are plenty of heroes in the bottom lane that were showing. Nobody's here to be able to protect QQQ. He's hoping to be able to create some space, but instead just ends up feeding away.
That was a really important kill for them to try to nab. And the Lifestealer being able to get Rage off first denies that opportunity, and it just wastes the Mirana farm on top of that. She has a lot of items queued up. That's optimistic.
Trying to go out for the all diffuse the blade Manta. TZ dodges the Starstorm damage. Continues to stand in front of any pushes from LGD.
And right now, Bane set up near this bottom area. No Fiend's Grip and nobody near him.
Oh, Yao can get a double stun here. He's going to be able to get the double burrow into the arrow, but it's going to be blocked by Arteezy with the Rage. So good play there from Arteezy, saving his support. And we'll be able to get a counter kill from Yao. 9-1, continuing to roll in. Samael optimistic they can grab more kills, but maybe it's Universe who can set up for the team. Nightmare has already been blown. No Fiend's Grip up yet, so FY will get away to safety. But not much of the map that's going to be safe soon. Very rapidly, EG is closing in on their item timings. They can get the Bloodstone and Fest Bomb. I struggle to see how well LGD is going to be able to deal with that.
Yeah, and 9-1 start so far. EG
Arteezy
much
could
better
get
this
Scott
game.
here. Yep, they have the lasso. This time around, they're going to be able to follow up with the disables, or not. Cold Embrace. Oh, no. Now the Winter's Curse.
They really
Arteezy's
need
going to
this
be able
kill.
to live through this, potentially. He's got the movement speed with the phase boots to run himself away from LGD quite easily. LGD bungling all of their Lifestealer attempts at Fiend's Grip. Universe onto the Sand King with the silence.
Again?
They might be able to get that kill. Again, these arrows just not working out for LGD. FY maybe going to get caught. Crit does roll on top of him, and it's just enough slow to prevent FY from landing on the other side of the cliff as Firefly wears out. Asleep. An extra kill here. QQQ. Gobbled up by Arteezy. That was supposed to be yet another free kill on the Lifestealer. And instead, LGD, wait, what's going on here? Are they really going to try and fight this one? There's so many heroes of EG here, but they're going to try and get the low HP ones. First crit is going to go down to the nukes maybe, and Arteezy is going to be forced to go for a Rage TP out, which is successful.
Yeah, they're going to reset here. And some things you want to highlight in that fight is as the Sand King was coming in from the right, Universe spots that coming in. He knows that Arteezy's Rage is going to fade, so he sleeps the Sand King. Then they make the counter turnaround. Arteezy then, for the second time this game, blocks the arrow, runs in with the Rage. They managed to pick up kills themselves. Nice rebuttal kill on that Earth Spirit, but definitely not what they wanted to get out of that. And LGD, they just can't catch any breaks. We saw the Firefly run out at the last possible second. Could have likely ran away if that doesn't happen. He was at the very edge of the lip.
A Winter's Curse setting things up.
Here's
Crit's
the
going to roll in
silence.
with Lifestealer inside. Ame's not going to be able to get off Rush. Oh, he almost did, actually.
No Sunder for him, and now they're going to make their move onto this Jakiro, who's here to try to back him up. FY also down here, but he's just going to blink
fast
out.
Universe is, man. Phase boots, drums.
400 move speed.
Yeah. And Samael's just farming during this time. They won that fight. He TP'd to mid lane, pushed into that tower. Now he's top lane, pushing into another tower.
He's going to get Bloodstone.
So fast.
15 by the end of the... probably like 16, 20 or something like that.
Grabbing Fear. This is what the lassos are being used for now.
Yeah.
At least it'll get them more damage on that mid tier 1 and maybe even finish it off. Crit's rolling in here.
It's a reliable kill. They really needed one of those.
They certainly do.
But
Silence on maybe. This time Crit is successful, and they're all going to be able to get the two-man stun. Silence, or sleep rather, onto Yao. But they didn't manage to complete any of the TPs, so it's really just Universe and Crit by themselves, and they're both going to die to LGD's 4-man.
A little bit sloppy there. They essentially ran in 2v4. Neither of the other cores are willing to fight or ready to fight. Trying to make that happen. He sleeps the Sand King, starts gripping the Mirana, but the Ice Path followed up.
There's something to be said for the game going this well. Like, they're trying to make it perfection, you know? Like, oh, let's not let this mid tower go down without a great fight.
Yeah.
They're just forcing themselves too much. EG can definitely take things slow with where Storm Spirit and Lifestealer are at right now.
It just felt, like you said, that they wanted to protect everything, get a little bit too greedy on the map, but that mid-tier 1 is very important. We've talked about it at length in our previous cast, how it controls that bottom area jungle. Once you lose the bottom tier 1 and the mid tier 1, then the game becomes a lot easier for Dire to play. Their offensive smokes make a lot more sense. But EG, I think they want to take the mid tower themselves. They got the Bloodstone on the Storm Spirit. This is a very good timing for them. There's absolutely no hero that can fight the Storm right now on the map.
And they're showing the Lifestealer too, so I don't think LGD really expect this. The smoke is going to pop though. Crit tried to go for the silence. They're still going to be able to catch on maybe though. They do have the kick that's going to be able to follow that stun up. And arrow, he actually nailed Samael and he doesn't have the damage down. The Sunder goes off. The sleep goes down just a little bit too late and Samael ends up dying. He was supposed to be able to fight through all of this now. Ame does not have a second life, so they are going to be able to bring him down. But LGD, they look to be in a great position to be able to win this outright. RTZ controlled up by the lasso. Winter's Curse laid down, hoping to be able to save him, but an arrow came in from maybe stalling up RTZ's retreat. A rage, and now a Cold Embrace, buying him a little bit of time, but Crit, you can't do it. You can't save the carry. Samael's back, second life, hoping to be able to get those Bloodstone charges back, plus a Haste Rune. He's going to go in deep, but he's out of mana, out of damage to be able to catch up with FY, and FY just might be able to escape from this situation.
He
does not have a TP scroll, but has a blink up in 3 seconds. Found by Samael, though, caught underneath his tier 1 tower, and it's going to be a brain sap from Universe to finish him off. Samael gets back to 10 Bloodstone charges, but I have to say, I still feel like that was not a bad fight for LGD whatsoever.
No, not at all. And it starts with that initiation. Samael zips in, doesn't see the arrow coming from his right. We're going to see the replay right here. Zips in, the rest of his team not quite ready. The stone going to kick in, thought that he was going to get an easy kill right there, but instead the arrow connects, the Sunder's there. They do manage to kill both the cores though, and even grab the third in the Batrider, but still not exactly how you want to use that Bloodstone. At the same time, the Storm Spirit, when you get that fresh Bloodstone at this early on in the game, you're going to instantly respawn. Very nice Winter's Curse. They do grab Arteezy here, but Samael zips in, manages to clean up.
And it just comes down to Samael, right? If he dodges that arrow, they had the damage to kill the Terrorblade before he gets off the Sunder during that stun duration time. And then that fight looks so much different.
That's the only way they kill him.
Yeah, then they wouldn't have the damage coming down from Terrorblade to really threaten RTZ whatsoever, and he would just run into the rest of LGD.
That was like 1,000 damage Sunder. If he doesn't get that Sunder off, they kill the Terrorblade, then I think it's a lot more clear-cut, and LGD have to be the ones to run back.
Yeah.
But as it stands, it's now a 2,000 gold lead for EG. Been diminished greatly. We see that graph jutting downwards as maybe has that Diffusal Blade. Really needs that Manta style, though, if he's going to be good against this Storm Spirit. And they're going to have to start getting a little bit more items. The Sand King has to get some items himself. The Blink Dagger now arriving on him, freshly picked up. This is going to be how they kill the Storm Spirit. They don't know that this is on the Sand King, and this is why they're making this aggressive maneuver in. The Storm Spirit, he's at 10 Bloodstone charges. If he loses any more, the
Bottom lane's
effectiveness
pushing in, so they're expecting someone to be there, right?
Yeah.
Probably the Storm, hoping the Storm.
This is going to be a nice clash.
Smoke for Smoke is going to reveal, though. They get the initiation first on the Universe with the arrow follow-up, and a silence really well placed by Crit is going to be able to stall up a lot of the damage. And Universe actually gets a sleep on himself. He's still going to end up going down, but LGD's initiation completely out of it. Both Batrider and the Sand King end up going down, and they don't even get anything that big. Maybe he's going to be caught as well. Does not have the lead. And Ame
barely gets out.
Almost caught by Fear. Oh, and another long jump. Samael, completely out of mana. I was hoping he would be able to catch QQQ, but he doesn't have any allies to follow him up. So he's back up to 13 Bloodstone charges now.
Very nice. And it was the timing on Crit silence. You saw the Batrider jump at the same exact time as the Sand King, but they only managed to grab the Bane in the beginning. Not the kind of initiation that they want, and they didn't expect to see all of EG down there. But all of a sudden, they gain another 1,000 gold. They didn't kill the Terrorblade this time, though. And that's going to be important for his progression. As we see in the replay, the first jump on the Bane, the silence timing.
So huge. Do you think that EG had a good idea of LGD making that rotation?
Oh, for sure. They had the ward on top of the cliff.
And that, in turn, makes sense why they would have Universe as the guy kind of leading the charge, because he's the tankiest. He's down to take all the damage and the initiation.
Definitely knew that was coming.
That was not...
Oh, yeah.
Don't know how that happened, but...
Just popped his ulti, saw EG running in, but unable to grab anybody, and that's a big team fight ability for them. I think that's the first time that he's tried that Epicenter. It whiffs.
And should EG just go and take an objective that it's down?
I think so. I'm not sure what the easiest one, though, is. I don't think they want to play the footsie game with Bat Rider, for example, around that Roshan pit.
Yeah, Roche sounds hard when you don't
especially
have any...
against Bat. But it looks like they want to try anyways.
They don't have any clear minus armor.
No, they can grab this somewhat quickly, though. Like, Lifestealer hits pretty hard. And it's up to LGD right now. They got to respond a little bit faster than this. They've got one of the best heroes at contesting the Roshan in the Bat Rider, but he's still bottom right now, and this is so crucial. They're going to fire the arrow.
An arrow comes in and is going to nail Crit, who's being mauled by Roshan right now, too. So he's going to be
now
so
Bat's
low
coming.
when he comes out of this one. The Bat Rider's here.
They gotta
FY
time
does
this.
not have his fire. So he's not going to be able to get in that pit very easily. He's just going to have to blink in. Yao's going to be the first one to now jumps in. Roshan going to be grabbed by RTZ. They're going to be able to pick up the Aegis and fight this one out with LGD, especially with Maybe controlled up by Universe. Ami's trying to finish Universe as best he can, but it's not going to stop that disable. Maybe is able to get out alive, though, and they're controlling up RTZ really well. The Winter's Curse laid into Yao. Oh, no. RTZ, his life is going to end. The first one, and he does have an infest, but no rage, so he's going to be ice path straight into the arrow. Here comes a long jump in from Samael, but Artis is already dead. So is most of their damage. Fear, he almost dies. He's got the Glimmer Cape buying himself time, but he was Diffusal Blade, so he's not going to go very far. Flies himself on top of the cliffs and goes for a TP out. Great play from Fear, managed to survive there. But LGD, I mean, you were speculating. Roshan, I don't think you can actually do this without LGD contesting, and sure enough, that's exactly what they do, and you get a masterful fight in the process.
And this is the meta of Dota, is that all these teams ahead, behind, they're going to contest that Roche area if they know about it. LGD, unfortunately for them, they didn't have that Firefly, but they still went in. That arrow connected early on. It was able to spot them. That ice path into the stun. Sumail already getting so low. He was mass clicking on the ground, had a little bit of mana, but that burn from the Jakiro didn't quite expect that damage, and they split this fight up so well. Universe with that grip, unable to do too much on top of that, and they lose that Aegis.
He spent that whole entire fight just whamming onto people. First it was Universe while he was Fiends gripping. Then it was RTZ.
Nobody was on top of him. He was completely untouched on that fight. Very good timing by them. Sumail zips in thinking that there's still a fight to be had, and that's got to be a frustrating one for EG.
Absolutely, and a bit of redemption for LGD, who early part of their game did not go so well. All right. Well, that's just going to happen.
Can't go for that ward.
Yeah.
Nobody near him. Murana showing at bottom. A little bit greedy.
Very greedy.
Now Bat Rider, Cap. Looks like he's going for the Aghanims. Everyone's starting to get slotted up. That Terrorblade, they did such a good job. Remember how far behind he was? He had a TP back at level 2 out of his lane, got dove a few times. Now he's got a Manta style. And this is the point where this matchup starts to become a little bit scary for this Lifestealer.
I mean, it's funny, our timing was looking like for the Storm Spirit, he was going to have Orchid well before Terrorblade or Murana had Manta. But now it's looking like we've already got the Manta on the Terrorblade, and it looks like maybe he's going to be able to pick one up pretty well in time with the Orchid pickup from Sumail. So it's not even like we're going to be able to get a wide window for Sumail to be able to work his magic in the solo pickoffs. They've got the items to counter the silence.
And that's really annoying for Storm players, is you get this Orchid, then everyone, you kind of have to, because it also just increases your DPS, the mana regen that it gives you. But you grab it, then everyone has a Manta, and your first jump that we always talk about being so important on heroes like Storm, when you first zip in, you Orchid somebody, you're already out of half your mana, you've used your Disable, somebody just Mantas out.
You need to be able to get that first kill as Storm Spirit when you make that kind of commitment, right?
The good news, though, is that if they're not fast enough, if LGD don't get that timing right, then it's very easy for Sumail to just get the zip in, pull, then go for the Orchid, and then you can burst him right after that. But LGD, they went for a smoke and the Moonlight Shadow. They're going to come up empty-handed. And LGD, now they have to shove out their lanes. They're going to show their map a little bit. And this might be EG's time to go now.
Push out mid.
Maybe go for a smoke of their own soon. They grab a gem onto the Winter Wyvern.
Yeah, they definitely need it with the Moonlight Shadow initiations and Ward Vision in general just being so key right now. They still have their two heroes, their two cores at top of the net worth chart, 11,000 apiece. Terrorblade, little bit farther back, but is beginning to pick up steam. The Bane, what does a Bane do here for you now? Like going into the mid game, we saw from the Draw Ranger game what Bane was able to accomplish in that 1v2 plus the Draw aura. Looked really good, looked fantastic. They closed out the game super fast. So my question to you is Blitz, what does a Bane do in a game that's a lot more even, and when you start going later on, post 25 minutes?
It's a little bit more complicated because in that game, their lineup was clearly structured around trying to end the game somewhat early. And in this game, I think it was more structured on trying to win all the lanes and shut down this Terrorblade enough so that EG can just take out all the major structures and objectives, which they were able to do in the beginning. But that Roshan attempt and that fight kind of swung things around and reset things, and you've undone all the damage that EG accomplished early. Is they're going to get a gem now on Sumail if he loses that. If you lose a gem to a Batrider, give him a freebie. 900 gold net swing.
That's why it's so important for them to get the right kind of initiation here, but LGD is pretty skittish. They're not showing anywhere on the map right now. Their lanes are in good position too. Bottom is still kind of pushed out.
Gonna get spotted out. FY knows that they're smoked.
They're going to be able to jump forward. FY is going to be snagged up though. But here comes Yao. He's going to be able to get an epicenter in, but it looks like he was not able to get his blink dagger off. He runs himself away from this fight. LGD have already given it up, but it seems the Batrider is down, and it looks like QQQ is also going to be caught. Sumail, another Bloodstone charge for him. Even though he was spotted, LGD were not able to get the right kind of rapid reaction they needed to get themselves out of that team fight.
Just a weird 2 seconds of Dota as the Sand King doesn't complete that jump in. I think he realized that it was hopeless. But at the same time, the Batrider saw the Bane break his smoke. Probably one of the better opportunities that he's going to get. But that hesitation, Sumail understands they're in that trees. Let's go. He zips in. No hesitation at all from him.
Do you think Batrider should have blinked backwards, or do you think he should have tried to initiate faster?
You either commit or you run there.
Yeah.
Because
either
EG
one,
knows.
you just have to go immediately.
You either back up as a group, you make that conscious decision, or you take that fight. You just go on the first target that you see, because you know that EG is going to be there as 5 once that smoke breaks. It's a mid-game smoke. They're not going to do these 2-3-man smokes anymore. These are 5-man commitments.
There was farming time for Ame, and he really wants his BKB against Evil Geniuses.
That was like a 700 gold lead at some point, and now it's back up to 2K.
So I'm going to tell you what I kind of look at this game. I look at this game as EG, like, okay, you want to win the laning phase. That's great. You want to try and snowball with Storm Spirit and Lifestealer. But if that doesn't work out, we're going to have to go late game with the Storm and see if he can be the be-all, end-all hero. While LGD, they just had to survive early, and they're going to hit this big mid-game timing where Terrorblade, where they're going to be knocking down buildings, they're going to be threatening high ground, and then I don't know what happens late game. Is that a correct assessment, or do you think LGD are actually looking much stronger in the mid to late game than that?
I think that their way of initiating is a little bit more reliable in the Batrider. The problem with Storm is that until you get a few more defensive items, you're always susceptible to being blown up, and you're the main source of initiation for EG. So things are a little bit dangerous there. It is still kind of a coin flip because I still think it's a really nice Storm game, but the successive team fights, it kind of depends on who jumps who, as we saw right there. When EG got jumped in the Roche pit, it was very dominant in LGD's favor, even with the Aegis.
Oh, crit. It might be grabbed here. Man's going to get the Scepter immediately on FY. Great precast. As FY goes in, they're going to try for the epicenter, though. Do manage to get a 2-man Burrow Strike with a reflection on top. And Ame actually got nightmared up and isn't able to output any damage. So Arteezy is going to be able to get a lot. Plus Sumail, he picks up the kill and manages to get out. But Arteezy, no longer having the rage, is actually going to drop the gem there. Sumail no longer had it. Looks like they didn't need the damage from Ame with the combination of team fight spells from LGD in such a small little gap. Looks like a huge win for them as they are going to be able to get the Ice Path on Universe, preventing him from running himself away. Cold Embrace plus Glimmer Cape is not going to do much, especially since they gave away a gem. What fear? You can't give another kill to LGD. Oh, no.
You saw Ame's positioning. He runs down the cliff so that he catches the Winter Wyvern in the reflection, and now he's Metamorphosis up. 4 heroes are dead on the side of EG. Perfect time for them to counter push. And the wheel swings the other way as they grab the gem now. That's going to give them the net worth advantage and a very big gem pickup.
Nothing like giving away a gem. Now LGD have control of the map right as Roshan is about to spawn.
Yeah.
Potential timer starts right now.
Oh, by the way, the one that he had picked up, it was the Batriders. And so they didn't lose their own gem.
Oh, okay. Look back over the replay. I mean, that Eul Scepter was great, but boy, it set up Yao for a big-time initiation. Yeah. Look at Ame is actually stuck there against the Sand King. So he's like, screw it, I'll just run in Reflection. Hit from the low ground.
And the Winter's Curse was used on him too.
Yeah, with the Nightmare already on him. If that had been thrown on maybe maybe, then perhaps Evil Geniuses could have gotten themselves out of that fight a little bit cleaner. But instead, maybe pretty much goes uncontested with his Manta. It just starts whooping some butt. They really need that AC for Arteezy. He's having a hard time dealing with all this physical damage. And Sumail is trying to get that that link in so he doesn't have to worry about the initiation of the lasso, which was dealt with by the Yule Scepter from Crit, but it was the follow-up of the Burrow Strike that caused a lot of damage to him.
And looks like he's actually going for the Shivas.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Oh, he just...
Oh. Go for some of the clearing on the illusions. Play a little bit riskier here. The armor going to be effective. Hurricane Pike now completed on the Terrorblade. That's going to help him deal with the Lifesteal a little bit better, who just finished the AC.
That's a very teamfight focused item rather than the opportunity to split push.
Yeah. Still, big invis here. EG holding
Arrow
the high ground.
Goes out, only nails the neutral creep though.
And the Terrorblade illusion going to spot all of them. They might make the long wraparound here. They're trying to get some vision off.
Seems like once again LGD have that big vision initiation
Stuns
advantage.
on cooldown though on Sand King.
Maybe
they
he's going to be running into EG here. This is super awkward. FY is going to make his jump. Doesn't manage to grab the Storm Spirit, but maybe lines up for the arrow. Actually going to be pulled out of the way, so Sumail is not hit by that one. Arteezy turns on FY. Sumail comes in, manages to finish him up. Here comes Yao. He's going for the epicenter. A big one per head. Potentially on the Storm Spirit. Holds off. Tries to go for the blink now. Gets him. Nails a bolt. A big play as Ame comes in. Manages to get the physical damage onto Arteezy, and he's out of here. He's got to get an infest. Perhaps onto Crit, who's going to roll himself away. They lost Sumail, so they can't take this fight anymore. They're going to have to look to defend their tier 3.
And a lot of hesitation from Yao does end up paying off, but at the same time, LGD largely fighting 4v5 there, but they do have 2 gems. That's going to be the big pickup. Well worth the death on either of their heroes that they lost.
Boy, that Yule Scepter. I don't know if like Jikiro made the call that he was going to Yules, and so that's why Yao didn't jump right away. But there was definitely a little bit of... it felt like it was going to be a kind of dysfunctional fight if Yao tried to Burrow Strike right away.
Yeah. They were trying to drag things further to the cliff on the right because they knew there was no vision up there with the gem. And so he was trying to set up for that free epicenter, but that fight was still really awkward for both sides. And now EG going to play very decisively here, try to get that Roshan fight.
I mean, has EG had a team fight that wasn't awkward? Yeah. This could be just another one where they're caught inside the Roshan pit. And the arrow nails Sumail. Okay, Yao. You don't have epicenter, so you don't have that big damage, but you can still follow up with the Burrow Strike. He's going to be able to get it on too. Pop out, Yao. He's almost going to die immediately, but they managed to get the control. Nightmare onto FY, so he's not going to be able to drag the Arteezy away. Universe almost going down. Sumail actually getting gobbled up by maybe. He just does too much damage with the Diffuser Blade, and now Arteezy is left alone against Ame, and that's never a place he wants to be. Turn around Sunder. Ame gets it off onto Fear, bringing him low with the Ice Path, catching both the supports. LGD clean it up, baby. 5-0 inside of a Roshan pit. A Roshan that is just the cherry on top for LGD to pick.
And a very, very easy one for LGD is that Roshan fight once again. LGD, their lineup is so good around fighting around that small corridor. They just funnel EG in one by one. They were trying to go for that Roshan attempt, play it decisively. They felt like they could have taken it very quickly, but LGD proving otherwise. Their lineup is so good at taking that fight. That engagement with the Bat Rider and the Sand King, they're never going to get better initiations than that. Yao just walked in, stunned 2 people with no issues. Sumail going to make the long zip, try to clear the creep wave. Is going to be successful.
Yeah, baby almost died from that one.
Yeah, and with Arteezy spawning in 20, they might only be able to grab the tower here. Depends. Ooh. They still have the meta up.
I mean, they have Cheese and Aegis. I'm down for them to just keep going. The leap forward, and finally backdoor protection will drop. There's the jump in, managed to finish off the Aegis. Crit's gonna have to give up his life for that one. Nightmare does find a little bit of time with the Winter's Curse on Yao. Ame kills his own ally. Now gonna be caught by the Fiend's Grip. None of LGD can actually stop that one, so maybe they can kill it. But Crit, he's having a hard time with the illusions. He has to roll away, but not gonna be able to do so. The cheese goes off from Ame. EG just don't focus the right hero down. And now Ame, big bad and in charge, will challenge Arteezy to a duel. And Arteezy, he's gonna wilt under pressure. He has to jump inside a creep, infest himself away, and leave his racks to die. LGD winning, what, 5 engagements in a row or something crazy. LGD's just looking to be able to close out this game immediately. Go for the second lane of racks. Why the hell not?
They are feeling so confident right now. 30 seconds left on that Storm before he's alive. And LGD, with that Aegis and Cheese, you were right. A little bit too strong for EG. That Mirana does so much damage, and the Terrorblade isn't easy to catch either. And at this point, EG, not a whole lot of options. The initiation isn't quite there for them. The damage isn't there for them. We talked about how, yes, the Terrorblade is going to struggle early, but he is a very good hero against that Lifestealer. It's not easy for Lifestealer to jump on this Terrorblade. This Terrorblade doesn't really fear anything at this point. He has that Force Staff. He's got a Hurricane Pike, Manta Style. Arteezy doesn't even know which one to target.
Yeah, now he's got a Linken's too. So say goodbye to any hope of being able to get a single targeting silence on him.
Yeah, and if you just think about the range and how he's going to have to fight that, if the Storm immediately goes in, he's going to have to commit both of his disables just to try to lock down that TB.
Yeah.
Probably not going to be enough either. And maybe he's got a Linken's on himself too. Completing up what looks like a Bloodthorn next. That's going to be the counter for the Storm. On top of what they already have. Even though the Bat Rider has suffered, everyone else starting to slot up heavily on LGD.
He could use a refresh on his diffusal here.
Yeah. It felt like, Cap, like 2 minutes ago. I know it was longer than that, but it felt like 2 minutes ago EG was rocking this 2K gold lead.
Yeah.
And now it's 13K the other way.
EG, they have just been put into the dumpster by LGD for the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's been all LGD. The team fights just being dictated by them time and time again. Now there's an Aghanim Scepter on this Bat Rider. And this decision, Cap, is based on the fact that if he jumps one, he's assuming that the Lifestealer, when he infests out, is always going to be next to somebody. They're smoked up. They want to try to play for the win right now. They're already pushing in. They're waiting for somebody from EG to defend. Warts out by the Sand King Yao.
They can get deep into the base where EG probably just won't have the positioning available. He's going to start beating onto that tier 3. Who's going to jump forward? It's going to be Crit. Just a stun, rolling himself back. Now Sumail tries to follow that one up, managed to dodge back. FY unable to be able to get the lasso out, but doesn't waste it. He still got it. Sumail actually out of mana now. The Thunder goes down. Winter's Curse though, onto Baby. Oh no, Baby drops so low. The Epicenter is going to be wasted off this one. He's still there to get a 3-man Burrow Strike. Arteezy, he's going to go for, wants to be able to take this disable up, but what about Ame? He's throwing out all the damage, and EG can't stand up to it. He's beating down hero after hero, and Sumail doesn't have the mana to do the same. In fact, he's out of mana. Cop of the Ice Bath, and Ame will bring him down. He challenges 80 and all comers to this fight, but it looks like maybe they'll finally bring enough magic damage. But maybe's come back. Maybe they can actually win this fight entirely, close out this game, because there's 2 cores that are down from EG with no buyback, and EG do not have the damage from their supports to finish off Ame. He will take down the tier 4s. He'll go into the fountain if he wants to. He can do anything in this goddamn game. He feels like it, because LGD rocked the game 2 and close out this series.
A very scrappy game number 2 as EG led for the majority of it. LGD had a very rough laning phase. They lost all 3 lanes. You can say that with some confidence, but the team fights were there around the Roche Pit every time. EG just weren't prepared for it, and a very disappointing flameout from EG as LGD will now move on to the finals to face Mineski.
I mean, these were our 2 invites to this tournament. You could absolutely see why LGD was invited to this, as they managed to make their way into the grand finals. EG, however, as you said, flame out. I mean, I don't know about you, but it felt like shot calling was just really screwed up in this game. I mean, it all starts with the first call to Roshan fight, follows up with a second call to Roshan fight, but also most of these engagements and even like targeting when it came to team fights just seemed off. We had that one play where they're defending mid, a full Fiend's Grip on a Terrorblade who drops super low, but our 2 damage dealers, Arteezy and Sumail, are going for the back line.
Yeah, and for me, the big determining factor is, in this tournament especially, is the great teams are able to set up their Roshans very smartly. We saw in the last game, LGD, how they set it up with the Ursa. They set that trap bottom. Then as soon as they had the 4v5, then they went into the Roshan. Whereas EG, it looked a little bit more hectic, chaotic. It felt like they were constantly under a timer. Maybe they put that under themselves. Maybe they felt the pressure of the Terrorblade versus Lifestealer matchup. But regardless, they're going to go out.
LGD looking dominant. I'm going to ask you this quick question, Blitz. Do you think they'll be able to stand up against Mineski, who have also been looking like one hell of a team?
Maybe.
All right, maybe's the answer from from Blitz. LGD are going to move on to the grand finals, and that's what we're going to cover now on our panel. Take a break, and we'll be back with our analysis and finish up with the grand final here at PGL.